Let's talk about the war that's happening right now in Iran because it's making headlines across the United States and across the world. So, as everyone is probably pretty familiar with, right now there's a lot of attacks happening from Iran. The United States is involved, the EU is involved. There's a lot of countries involved in what's going on in the geopolitical conflict overseas in Iran right now, and it's causing disruptions to the market. As most people are probably aware of, especially if you've gone to fill up your car with the tank of gas, oil prices have surged pretty significantly. And we've seen the prices of oil barrels jump to almost $100 a barrel right now. And I wouldn't be surprised if maybe the price of oil jumps even above $100 a barrel. Over the last year or two, it's been coming down pretty steadily, and we've seen a very sharp spike in really the last week because of the oil conflict going on. The Strait of Hormuz, which is one of the, I guess, largest channels of water, not compared to oceans, of course, but largest channels in regard to the actual transversing of oil, meaning that most oil in the world actually passes through this strait. And right now, oil tankers are at standstill. They cannot pass through the Strait of Hormuz currently because of the attacks that are going on. They're being targeted by Iranian drone strikes and other military strikes. So at this time, they just simply cannot transport oil. So what does that mean for the markets as a whole? Well, of course, we've seen some volatility in the markets. We've seen stocks decline. We've seen the VIX, the volatility index, increase as well. And, taking a look at history, there's some things we can learn from geopolitical conflicts. So looking at the chart on the screen, we've seen that most geopolitical conflicts throughout history tend to not have long lasting market impacts. There's only really a handful of incidents throughout history that have had very sharp declines in the S&P 500 that have prolonged for an extended period of time. So think of the period of the Pearl Harbor attacks in the 1940s, or when Iraq invades Kuwait in 1990. Those are some of the biggest ones that come to mind, especially looking at the chart here, seeing that this is kind of what happens. What investors can take away from this is that if the Iranian conflict continues to escalate and continues to be prolonged, then we should expect more volatility as time progresses. But if things dial back a little bit, or if the conflict gets resolved sooner rather than later, then I would expect this to be pretty minimal when it comes to the market. So we'll keep an eye on it as things progress because this is a hot topic right now. And of course, we'll talk more and more about the impact, especially if it continues to be longer lasting than everyone anticipates.